Welcome to the demo on PEDI. Analytics about how students navigate online learning tools throughout the duration of an assignment is scarce. So we introduced PEDI. PEDI stands for Piazza Explorer Dashboard for Intervention, a tool which analyzes and presents visualizations of firm activity on Piazza to instructors. Piazza is a question and answer firm. PEDI has a number of charts that display information and firm activity analytics such as average post frequency, frequency of post likes and replies, frequency of firm activities that are being performed, and an alert system which signals the need for intervention before the end of an assignment's duration. Now we'll go into using PEDI. So this is a demo of PEDI's workflow. Our first task is to use PEDI to detect late firm use. Findings from our previous study show that late firm use is correlated with poor class average performance. So the lower the rate of early posts by the whole class, the lower the class average performance. So the first task aims at detecting late firm use by the class in order to encourage early firm use in the goal semester. And the goal semester is simply the current semester the students are in and the semester the instructor is willing to analyze. So for task one, we would simply navigate the PEDI app. So we are in the PEDI interface, and the PEDI interface consists of a home page that simply shows you in a summary what PEDI is about. And for this task, we'll be dealing with the Tracking Early Firm Activity tab. We clicked on the tab and we see the following tools. So we're interested in the goal semester fall 2020, and we'll navigate to fall 2020. We're also interested in assignment P1, P2. So we select P1, P2. And we want to see the rate of activity on Piazza halfway through P1, P2's timeline. So we know that from the table provided by PEDI that the timeline for project P1, P2 ranges from the 16th of September to the 13th of October. So halfway through the duration is the 30th of September. So we'll select the 30th of September on the calendar. And the next instruction is to compare with fall 2019 and fall 2018. From this graph, we see that fall 2020, our goal semester is in blue ink, while the rest semesters are in red and green. So we see that, yes, early in the semester, so this is the beginning, the start date of the assignment, the date the assignment was released, till halfway through the assignment's duration. And we see that some students in 2020 did not talk about the assignment on the first day. So to define this line graph, it's just the average number of posts each day, which is the total number of posts made each day divided by the class population. So we divided by the class population to be able to compare between the semesters. So this is the average post for this day and the average post for the next day. And it goes on like that. And we see that early in the first half of the semester, students in fall 2020 made a higher number of early interaction. And that is interesting. However, they reduced their rate of interaction and it picked up on the 28th of September. Compared with other semesters, for example, 2018, we see that the rate of interaction is kind of higher, although it didn't start earlier, but it was more than the early interaction for 2018 and 19. So as an instructor, I might not know what to do with this line graph, but let me see other charts to see more information about interactions in my class for this assignment. So when I go to the pie chart, I see that, oh, wow, 43.98% of the class perform no visible activity on the platform. In our research, we define activities on Piazza to be of two types. One is visible interaction, and the other is non-visible interaction. Is either you're locking or not using the platform at all. And if you're doing one of those two, you fall under non-visible activity on Piazza. And on the other end, if you are asking a question, if you're replying to students' questions, if you're a student and you're answering other students' questions, and if you're asking a question, if you're replying to a follow-up, or you're replying to a question, or giving a follow-up question, you are performing visible activities on Piazza. However, if you're not doing any of those, or you're simply not even using the platform, you're grouped under no visible activity on Piazza. And I say, oh, wow, why are students for 3.98% of my class not interacting on Piazza, not asking questions, not replying to questions? I might not be able to do anything with this information, but let me keep going and see future chats. So the alert system shows me that there's no cause for alarm, even though they are almost half of the class is not performing any visible activity. There's nothing to be alarmed about. And I want to know why. So this table powers this alert system, comparing this semester's rate of interaction with the average across previous semesters. So we see that 37.22% of the class are actually doing a follow-up to other people's questions, is higher than the average across previous semesters. This means that more people are interacting earlier in the assignment timeline compared to other semesters. Same with the reply to follow-up, as well as the questions and the student answers. Also, the number of people not acting on the platform is actually lower, and that is a good thing, and that's why there's no cause for alarm. This is a table on PEDI. The last table on PEDI simply shows the deadlines for all the assignments, just for reference. So we have seen an example of a good semester where students are on track. So now let's see an example of a semester where the opposite occurs. We will repeat this for fall 2017 for the same homework. And halfway through the deadline for a timeline for that assignment in fall 2017 is the 2nd of October. So I'll select fall 17 as my goal semester, the semester I want to analyze, and I would compare it to fall 2020, fall 2019, and fall 2018. So when I compare this to this halfway through the semester, I would also select halfway. Halfway is the 2nd of October. I see that, oh my God, 2017 fall, my students are not interacting as they should, because the average number of interactions per day is so low, lower than previous semester. And based on the theory, we discovered that the lower the number of interaction, of early interaction, the lower the average performance. Should I be afraid as an instructor? Should I intervene? Should I make my students react more or begin working on assignments earlier? Because we have established that asking questions on Piazza and interacting on Piazza, it's kind of a proxy for the fact that students have begun work. So students might not interact and ask questions on an assignment if they were not working on that assignment. So interactions on Piazza is seen here as a proxy for the start of an assignment, or the fact that students have begun working on that assignment. So pie charts, this is a pie chart, and we have halfway through the assignment duration for fall 2017. We see that 51.72% of the class have not performed any visible activity on Piazza. And we see that while this is true, 39.41% of the class are asking questions. So this first alarm is trying to compare the current rates of help seeking with other semesters. This means that help seeking is simply the number of questions asked, not counting the number of replies or the number of follow-ups, just simply questions asked. help seeking questions asked. So we see that students are actually asking a right number of questions comparable with other semesters. However, we see that the activity in general, including the questions, replies, student answers, follow-up, are not commensurate with other semesters. They are actually lower, and we want higher rate of interaction earlier in the assignment duration. And there are different studies that show that the earlier students start working on an assignment, the more time they leave to ask questions, and the more time they leave for the teaching assistant to actually respond to their questions. But when they ask questions towards the end of the timeline, the assignment timeline, teaching assistants do not have ample time to actually respond and to the questions of the students, and students do not benefit from those answers given by the teaching assistants. And so the basics of this alert system, again, is this table. So the table is saying that, oh, the number of follow-ups are lower than average. The replies to follow-up are lower than average. The number of questions is actually higher than average, and that's a good thing. They're asking more questions, but there's lower interaction. So this is a situation where we can dig down further research into comparing help seeking versus student engagement, because help seeking is one thing, but responses to the students' need for help is another important fact that we have to acknowledge. So the instructor can look and say, oh, there's not enough answers on this forum. There are a lot of questions, but there are not enough answers. There are not enough interactions on the Piazza forum. And that is what this can signal to instructors about their class and about this assignment. That is it for the first task. We have detected late forum use in the fall of 2017. For task 2, we will try to detect unusually high forum use with PEDI. We'll go to the second tab, and we named it tracking assignment difficulty simply because unusually high forum use towards the end signals difficulty. It signals that students are struggling, and that's why they're asking a lot of questions, and that's why there are a lot of interactions on the platform towards the end of an assignment duration. So why do we want to check out detect unusually high forum use by the whole class? We want to do this because our previous research shows that higher traffic towards the end of the assignment timeline is related to lower class average performance. And so the second task aims at detecting higher rates of forum interaction during the 2/3 of the assignment timeline in order to detect assignment difficulty and ensure that the whole class benefits from answers on the forum. And so for this task, we go to the tracking activity assignment difficulty tab. We are there already, and we go to fall 2020. Fall 2020, and then we select P1, P2. Selecting this assignment, we also select 2/3 of P1, P2's duration, and we've calculated 2/3 as the 4th of October. And when we compare with other semesters, say fall 2019, compare with fall 2018, fall 2017, we note that fall 2020 is the purple line. And we try to compare and see if there are higher rates of interaction towards the end of the assignment. So the purple line shows higher rates of interaction towards the end compared to 2019 and 2017. 2020 has a higher rate, but compared to 2018, 2020 students are not doing too bad in terms of asking questions. So they're probably asked most of their questions at this point, and then they have like a kind of average number of traffic, not as high as that of 2018. This tab is actually interesting because instructors can actually narrow down to this point in time in order to see what concepts are actually giving students headache. So when I click on this histogram, I see a table appears. And this table shows all the questions asked on this day. And we can see that 250 interactions, 250 posts were made on just this day, very close to the deadline. And instructors can check the post and see what concepts a student is struggling with. They can order by the number of likes to see the posts that were most liked by students and how they can answer those questions. They could also compare between the concepts struggled with on the days with the highest number of interaction, as well as the concept struggled with on the days with the lowest number of interaction. And see, and that can inform their instructional method and say, okay, so when I taught this concept this way, students had little questions to ask, so they comprehended. It might be that they comprehended better than when I use this method to teach. It might be that they did not really understand the concept, and that's why they're asking so many questions. So let us scroll down to see more information. So this is a tree map that shows you the post with the highest number of likes for this day. So we see that the post with the highest number of likes occurred on the 22nd of September. And that post had 6 likes. In order to navigate to the post, instructors could note the post number, 1314, and the date, September 22nd. And when we go to September 22nd, we look for post 1314. You can also order by post number, 1314. And we see that post 1314 was asked on this day. And it's a question and had 6 likes. So 6 students actually have had like the same issues or similar issues with this question, and they upvoted this question and wish that the instructors give attention to this question. So PEDI kind of exposes the post with highest number of likes and for the benefit of both the instructor and the students. So if instructors choose to pin this post, it can benefit the whole class because they can actually see that this post is a problem faced by a lot of students. Lurkers, which are students that just view posts on Piazza, can actually see this post and pay attention to it, as well as the responses that follow this post. And teaching assistants could actually see this post and react quickly to this post because it's getting a lot of attention. The tree map can also show us the post with the highest number of replies in order for instructors to, in order for instructors to actually make a decision on time and see the kind of the posts that are giving students headache in terms of the posts that have a lot of back and forth in terms of responses and replies. So this is the post with the highest number of replies has 21 replies, and that is post 1400 on the 24th of September. 24th of September, post 1400, had a lot of back and forth. And we could navigate to that post. 1400, 1400. Okay. So it's kind of going forward. Let us just search for 1400. So this is post 1400. Instead of using the previous and next buttons, you can just put in the post number and get the question. So this post had a lot of responses, like back and forth. And this kind of post could be clarified in class. So you had 21 responses. The The instructor could note what post this is and try to clarify in class because students were providing answers, instructors were providing answers to this particular post. And at the end of the day, it looks like the post was resolved. Yeah. So yeah, but it took 21 posts to get this result. So this kind of questions could be flagged as gaining attention, and instructors could actually clarify the situation in class. And so this is what PEDI can expose to instructors about activities on Piazza. So there are some questions for this task. We see they said observe the histogram, and based on the number of posts per day, what are you interested in and why? So some instructors might be interested in the days with the lowest number of posts because they want to improve their instructional methods or know what concepts are being taught on this day as opposed to what concepts are being taught on the days with the highest number of posts. And we are asked to click on the bar with the date we choose and see the post for that day. So yeah, we can see the post for that day. We can order by the number of likes, and we can see the most pressing post or post being voted by students. And we can actually identify what students are struggling with and what the posts are about. And if we saw this during our class, would we like to intervene? For example, for the post with the highest number of likes, instructors might want to intervene. And so let us look at this. This 2018 is particularly interesting to me. Like, why, if the goal semester were for 2018, and I saw a very high spike compared to other semesters at midway through 2018, so 2/3 of the way through assignment 2018. For that assignment P1, P2, 2/3 is probably, I see 20, that's about 17 days, I believe. 17 days, so 2/3, 17 days is maybe the 17th of October. So let's say it's 17th of October, and maybe we just say the 18th. So when we say 18th of October is kind of 2/3 through that assignment's duration in 2018. Okay, so that's the red. I don't see the spike yet. So when did the spike come? The deadline was 22nd. So let's say on the Saturday, let's see what happened on the Saturday. Yeah, so 2018, I see the spike. So the spike, the deadline was on Monday, the 22nd, and on the 20th, on the Saturday, there was a very high spike here. And it shows that students, on that Saturday, probably they chose to work on the assignment. They did not work on it on the previous days, about 14 days. They had 2 weeks before the 20th to work on it. They did not work on it as much on that Saturday, 2 days before the deadline. Students chose to work on this project. And we see that they had a lot of questions. And as an instructor, I could want to go into this graph and see what concepts are students actually struggling with. And when I order by number of likes, I see that 3 students have voted this question, and I might want to provide answers to this question. And if we see the number of posts, post with the highest number of likes was made on the 18th of October. So I'm reading the contents of this post. Post with the highest number of likes, 1463. I could search for 1463, and then I see the post. It's kind of like a poll, and students could say, okay, see the activities going on in this post. Let's see the post with the second highest number of likes. Second highest number of likes is 1295. 95. And it was on the 15th of October. 15th of October, 1295. It's a question. I'm having trouble with this. So instructors could look at this question and ensure that the question is answered in time, you know. So if we notice that the question was not answered on that day. So let us look for 1295 on the next day and see if the question was answered. I'm sorry about that. Mistake. The question was neither answered on the next day. It was not, okay, 1295. Okay, let's see. I believe the question was answered on this day, but I don't see the question number here. Okay. So it looks like we can't find the day the question was answered, because this is a question here and it had 5 votes and we cannot find the day the question was answered. But there were references to this post, and there were references to the posts in other instructor answer. Yeah, so this tree map basically gives instructors like an overview of the activities going on in Piazza. We can also go to the pie chart and we see that 46.15% of the class perform no visible activity. However, 46.96% asked questions. And then there were this number of follow-ups and 17% of the class gave an answer as a student. And so we see that there's actually causes for alarms or alerts. And the number of questions alone asked towards the final deadlines higher than the average across all the semesters, as well as the traffic. It's kind of higher, and it shows that maybe students are stuck on this day. That is 2/3 towards the assignment duration. And why is this? We can see that the number of follow-ups is like kind of higher than average across all the semesters. The number of questions asked is higher towards the deadline. The number of students' answers is actually almost the same as the average across all the semesters, and the number of no activities actually are lower. That means just fewer people are not asking questions, so more people are asking questions on the forum, and that is not a good thing towards the end of the assignment duration. They just had Sunday and Monday to solve the assignment, and they had this much activity at this point in the semester. And as an instructor, he says, if you saw this during your class, what will you do about it? It's left for the instructor to decide what to do to solve the problem. Would you intervene, and what form of intervention to use? As an instructor, I could give an extension. I could clarify instruction. I could pin in important posts for the benefit of the whole class. And let's move forward to the third task. In task 3, we're going to select P2 and fall 2019, and the 2/3 is November 16th. And when we compare to other semesters, we see the difference. But now we're going to study the tree map instead. We want to see posts with high number of likes. So you see that this post had 10 likes, and Our study shows that students really like a post on Piazza. Only 3% of all posts so far were liked by students across all semesters, only 3%. So when students upvote and like a post, it shows that it's very important. And so when we review the post 1683 on the 8th of November, post 1683. We can see it's a question and the person is kind of confused and 10 other students are equally confused. So instructors can see this post and do something about it, comment on the quality of the post and try to either pin the post for the benefit of the class or clarify instruction on the class. So these are ways in which PEDI is very useful for signaling instructors about the big picture of assignments in their class before the end of the deadline, before the end of the assignment submission. So an alert is raised, meaning that the number of questions asked is really high. So however, interaction is normal. So this means that instructors should give more attention to the questions asked. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. And I want to thank you for listening. If you want to see PEDI come alive in your classes, you can contact me and we could work together to make PEDI a live application used by both instructors and teaching assistants to see the big picture in their classes and make informed interventions. Thank you for listening.